Hello, listeners. Welcome to the Futurecast, where we decode the future of innovation. If you are expecting dull tech talk, you are in the wrong place. But if you want to uncover the forces quietly reshaping industry, stick around. Today, we are talking about an innovation that's subtle, sneaky, and unstoppable: intelligent automation. To guide us through the game changing tech, I've joined with Saurabh Gujral. He is the competency lead for intelligent automation at Compunnel and an expert in simplifying complexity. Saurabh, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shivam. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm actually excited, for this opportunity and being able to, spread the word about intelligent automation. Now, I understand that intelligent automation may not be making the headlines because it's all AI all over, but it's definitely transforming the industries behind the scenes. Now, it's the engine driving efficiency, innovation, and growth. So I think in this show and with your opportunity, we'll be diving deeper into this technology, this innovation, and explore the potentials of it.
Saurabh, I think you rightly said, I will be able to relate it. People are too much into AI at this moment, and I don't say that AI is not important. Somewhat I think that AI is connected with intelligent automation some part. AI is there in market from so many years. Intelligent automation is also in market, but somehow I personally feel, and please correct me if I'm wrong, intelligent automation has created space for itself in the market that AI is still trying to get. Right.
Yes, I would suggest yes, you are correct in this. So, see, a primary difference between AI and the intelligent automation as we speak collectively, it's a combination of AI plus robotic process automation. Now, when I say that, basically AI is simplifying our work, giving us a summary of let's say calls transcript. It's reading the documents and giving us a summary out of it, refining the content, generating the content, all those things. But again, when we talk about intelligent automation, the perspective is that how can we help our workforces in doing the skillful work and not just getting engaged into the transactional work. For example, just a very basic use case like invoice processing. What we have seen as in across the globe in the organizations, we've got people who are just stuck with this one type of a job. So yeah, for example, invoice processing as a transaction, like across the globe, we see many companies. Every company, almost, I would say, they have the teams, who are just engaged into processing the invoices, like receiving the invoice, reading out the data, putting it into another system, processing the transactions. Now, this is where intelligent automation comes into picture, where these transactions can be managed by bots powered by AI, which can help in extracting the data, and then RPA bots pick up the data, feed that into the destination system, does the confirmation, and processes it. While the human here is basically involved in doing the exception, managing the exceptions, doing the intelligent work, not the tedious one, which is day in, day out kind of thing.
So interestingly, Saurabh, I think you described very well how AI and IA, again, this is a catchy term, AI and IA are two different but interconnected
Correct.
things. You spoke about invoices, and I think from last 10 years, I'm in market, I'm hearing so many people talking about invoices, automation in invoice and everything. Their knowledge is stuck at some part. Why don't you give some industry-based example? Let's just pick up healthcare,
Mhm.
right? We know that healthcare is a lot of forms, insurance claims, long waiting time. It's like a maze, right? So what's happening behind the curtain, especially when it comes to the automation part?
So again, like I said earlier in my example of invoice, I'll again pick up a very basic and with a very common scenario across the healthcare facilities, which is a outpatient department. Now, usually we see that is where the major chaos is. Like we see long queues, people standing at the billing counter, people filling up the forms, and not finding places to sit. Chaos all over. A simple solution could be, when automation kicks in, we can have a QR code which is placed across the OPD section. The patients coming in, they basically just scan the code, which opens up a web-based app for them. They fill in their details, they fill in the details completely, and that is where even AI comes into the picture. Now, if they have insurance cards, they can just upload a picture of the insurance card. AI behind the scenes can extract the information, use the API integrations, verify whether the insurance is valid or not. And then once the OPD, the patient registration is done, the backend system of the same app can notify the front desk and even offer the customers to pay online. Now we see that there are online payment methods available across, and everybody is using smartphones to make the payments. That same integration can be done. So if they have to even pay the doctor's visiting fee, for example, which is, or any other fee which is not covered as a part of the insurance, they can do it directly from the phone. Again, like I said, the backend of the app similarly can be made available for the doctors, right? Where doctors can manage their schedules, which doctor is available from what time to what time. Patients can choose their own doctor as per the available slots. Doctors are notified. If in case a patient wants to reschedule an appointment, the patient can reschedule it directly from the same app. And once it is rescheduled, the doctor's window or that appointment schedule becomes available for somebody else. So it's all integrated where, I mean, practically no human intervention is required, but yet the system is running up and fine.
I think that is exactly what we all are expecting the world should be like.
Yeah.
So you are saying that with some time, no more paperwork will be there or back and forth calls will be there, especially when it comes to the insurance processes as well.
Correct. That's what I feel, because even in the claims processing, it's all about documentation. So I mean, when we talk about insurance organizations as well, so most of the scenarios, it's definitely rules are defined, right? The situations are defined, the scenarios are defined, and if there are rules in the system, the AI plus robotic process automation, when we say intelligent automation, can definitely work it out. I'm not saying that yes, it can take care of 100% of the scenarios. Even assuming that okay, 90% of the scenarios can be taken care of, that is what I say. The human intelligence can be used for those 10% complex or out of the box scenarios, but primarily intelligent automation can handle it all.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yep.
But healthcare is not only one field that needed changes. I think let's shift our focus a little bit towards something like manufacturing, factories, assembly lines, supply chain. This is like something which is like backbone of production, but also full of challenges. Now, I think
Right.
I'm working with you from last 2 years. I've heard you working on a lot of accounts, a lot of companies, customers where you have done these kind of amazing things. So can you tell me how automation is stepping in here so that the listeners can have some of the more relevant information around manufacturing industry?
Sure, why not? So, I mean, when we talk about manufacturing sector, it's a perfect example of how automation, can solve critical business issues, like from inventory management to predictive maintenance. Bots have the capability to work 24 by 7 and to keep the operations running smoothly. Now, let's take predictive maintenance for as an example. Now, by analyzing machines data, okay, which can be done in real time because the data is getting maintained and uploaded onto the systems, automation can predict failures before they even occur. So, just predictive maintenance can be triggered before even a machine actually shuts down, saving manufacturing, millions and millions of dollars, or downtime costs, so to speak. Another great use case is in supply chains. Now, where bots automate repetitive tasks like order processing, tracking shipments, ensuring that everything flows seamlessly, right? So even when I talk about inventory management, like every in supply chain, we need to definitely make sure that the supplies or our stock does not go below a threshold level. Now, when that rule is defined, automation can real time monitor the stocks which are moving out. As and when the stocks move below the threshold level, the bots can initiate automated PO generation based on the defined business criteria for the vendors, and it can also predict as to what is the standard delivery time. So it can manage the show on its own behind the scenes without a human intervention.
I think this is interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's a huge boost. But now let's talk about another industry that I am currently involved with, which is retail, a sector that's all about speed and customer service. It's all about how good can you give customer experience. Online shopping is seamless now. Return process is still frustrating. How automation is solving these all things, especially in retail industry?
So again, in retail, I would say it's again related to supply chain. So here also, intelligent automation has the capability to handle the tasks like inventory updates, order fulfillment, and customer service inquiries. just to ensure that there is frictionless shopping experience for the customers. So just for an example, when you see your order is being processed, that's often a bot working in the background to move the things along. Okay, because the rules are defined in the system. So as soon as the request is received, it goes to one desk, then from one desk to the other desk. So it's the bots which are managing the show behind the scenes. As for returns, automation is a game changer here. Now, returns processing, which often frustrates both customers and the businesses, is basically now faster and more efficient. We've got automated workflows which can improve the return request, initiate refunds on its own, and even restock the items, all without human intervention. What we have seen is that there are certain retailers who are using RPA for return using it for return request. They have reported that there is a 30% reduction in processing time, and they're still able to keep their customers happy and loyal.
I think that is something a high ROI that people can expect if they're implementing it. So, Saurabh, we both have worked together, and I think more than 55 blogs are live around healthcare, manufacturing, retail on Compunnel's blog site. I personally feel that automation is everywhere, it's just that people are shy to acknowledge or they're not that aware, but it's there in market from very long period of time. So all the listeners that are there today, the business stakeholders, the new to automation world, or people that are enthusiasts to work in automation or to learn about it, what do you think that there is a first step to adopt automation?
I would say the first step that mostly I have been suggesting to my customers is, uh, I mean, what I've seen most of the organizations. So even in the organizations, if there are decisions, but the people who are involved with the actual process, there's a fear of that automation is going to take the jobs, which is actually not true, because what automation does, it helps create the bandwidth where the the actual skills of the people can be utilized. So it enhances and helps the workforce to basically start working smartly onto the real transactions which actually require brains and skills. So and the best way that we go forward with any of our customers is we develop a POC, which is a proof of concept. And another observation that I have is there is also a bit of confusion between among the decision makers when AI is confused with automation. So they're two different sides of the same coin.
Okay. So, Saurabh, thank you for this clarification. But I have some of the questions that I gathered from Quora and different websites where people were asking questions. I personally found there were not too many um, good answers to those questions that are there. Let me just throw these questions to you. There are like 4, 5 good questions, 5, 6 questions. You tell me
Okay.
your perspective, like be unbiased, not like a partner, company like partner like Compunnel is giving answer. Just give me your perspective, your response towards it, and for the sake of the listeners that are there. So the first question is automation killing innovation? Like by automating repetitive tasks, are businesses inadvertently killing creativity and innovation among employees? Could over reliance on bots lead to stagnation in problem solving and human ingenuity? So, what's your thought about it?
Okay, so like I said in the initial introduction and in couple of other questions, when we talk about automation, so what we are pitching here is basically automating the repetitive tasks. So now, when we talk about innovation, once we take the people out from this daily transactions load, because while the people are occupied into daily transactional issues or transactional business transactions, they what we've seen is what I have seen personally, they don't get bandwidth to think out of it. Now, that is where the bots or the automation comes into the picture, because they are no longer bothered or under the load of getting the transactions processed within the SLAs, because that's where the automation is doing it. Which is where people have the bandwidth now available, where they can think beyond their already established process. So that's where the innovation comes. How can we even further streamline the process? Because if there are still exceptions, how we can do it, or what can we do to make the process even more smarter, so to speak, or more error free, or you can say uh, Yeah, that's what I would say. So it's definitely an enabler. Automation is definitely not a job killer.
Okay. But other than job killer, do you think that it is empowering employees in some way?
Oh yes, I mean, out of all the projects that I've delivered, for my clients and even internally, so to speak, I mean, every team or every business user who has been introduced to automation, they just are addicted to it, and they have nothing but praises about it because, like I said, when employees get an opportunity to actually use their skills rather than doing the data entry kind of thing or doing the same type of work day in and day out, uh, basically there's no excitement at the workplace because they are just occupied with the transactions. But as and when the intelligent automation comes into the picture, they get to see something new every day. And even if they have bandwidth, they are able to upskill themselves, they are able to learn new skills into their own business roles. So that's how it helps.
Okay. And likewise, do you think that the businesses are automating without a strategy? I personally felt in one of the conversations that I had with one of the prospect, there are companies that are rushing to implement RPA, but
Hmm.
they are not clear with the roadmap. Uh, they
Hmm.
come up with like is automation. They come up with their own thought process. So if
Hmm.
you think that okay, there is a roadmap, what do you think it's a right roadmap for someone to implement intelligent automation?
So what we do, or I do personally, and this is my recommendation to all the listeners also. So whenever you decide that okay, first a decision needs to be made that yes, we are ready to adopt automation. How do we make that decision? Is if in our business we find out that there are business processes which are heavily human dependent, like or seasonal, like for example, retail or online shopping. We see every time that during the festivities or festive season, there is the request or the traffic, the orders, they just explode.
Hmm.
Okay, it the transactions increase exponentially. Now as a business there is a challenge to even hire the people. Getting my point? So that's so or the people have to do you know double shifts, or they have to do overtime, and that's sometimes even causes frustration among the employees also because it's a festive season for them as well. They're not able to get the leaves or all those things. So that's where so as a business, that is where your decision making comes, that if there are business processes which are heavily human dependent, or it's a repetitive work, it's well defined process, it's been stable, or they have seasonal influxes, those are the processes that they should target first. Now even among these processes, the recommendation is always to pick up the lowest hanging fruits, the process which are smaller, which are well defined, which are stable, because that's where the teams or the business users can get the taste of automation first. So that's where the confidence and adoption becomes easier.
But I think uh, everything comes with some kind of hidden cost. So that is where my next question is.
Mhm.
One of the user wrote about automation that um, there are a lot of hidden costs that are in automation. I personally
Mhm.
don't relate with it, but what's your perspective? Do you think that RPA promises cost savings at one side, but B2B organizations underestimating the hidden expenses such as maintenance, retraining employees, scaling automation? Is the ROI of automation a little bit overhyped?
No, I don't think so. It's overhyped. But yes, I would definitely say that depending upon the strategy, depending upon the business processes, uh, I wouldn't disagree that yes, there is an initial investment to it. And depending upon the complexities of the process, the ROI can vary from 3 months to 6 months to even 1 year, depending upon the number of people you have in the process. So when I say upfront cost, it's all about licenses, and definitely it's also dependent upon what platform you choose. Now, what we've seen is that we've got multiple tools which can be utilized. Like we have got Microsoft Power Platform, we've got UiPath, we've got Automation Anywhere. There is one new product which is upcoming, which is Electronique, right? So these are tools which are upcoming now. Depending upon the complexities of the process plus the appetite of the organization, that initial investment varies. But yes, like I say, ROI is not definitely not overhyped. I've seen and we've delivered the projects where ROI has been realized within 3 months.
Okay. But do you think that in automation we spoke about bots? Do you think that bots can be trusted in high stake industries? So let's say in sectors like healthcare, finance, legal, can we really trust bots to handle sensitive processes without human oversight? How do we ensure accountability when automation fails?
Okay, so yes, that's a very interesting question that you asked, and we've actually did a project for one of our clients who had this kind of a process itself. Now, so to answer your question first, can the bots be relied? Yes, they can be trusted because we've got processes which are being managed by bots end to end, even in the banking industry. Okay, now there is a concept which is called maker checker. Okay, now that is where we use this concept. So one bot basically becomes a maker, which means that bot is the one which is processing the main business transaction. The other bot becomes the checker, which actually acts like a layer just before the human intervention, where they have additional business rules to verify each and every transaction which is processed before it is confirmed into the system. Still, there are still 2 or 3% cases which we may still not be able to put into the maker checker model. That's where the human intervention comes. Also, in this kind of a scenario, what we usually do is randomly one or the other transaction will pop up in front of the human to verify the details of that transaction and confirm to process further. Now, this also ensures that randomly, when I say randomly, it's also definitely rule based that every fifth transaction or 10th transaction that is being processed, it should be brought in front of the human. So that all can be done.
Okay.
This basically ensures that we are doing a real time audit.
Okay. But when we are talking about these many changes coming and the people using bots and everything, there is another part of this society, especially into the industries. They think that automation is creating a divide between big and small businesses. So let's say with large enterprises adopting RPA faster due to they have more resources, is intelligent automation leaving smaller businesses behind? Are we widening the gap between industry leaders and SMEs? What do you think?
Yes, because see, when it comes to adoption, again, see, we are talking about businesses. So when we talk about businesses, and like I said earlier, it all starts from proof of concept. So depending upon the processes and the proof of concept, there are tools, where automation can start with as basic as $15 a month license. Okay, that's how low it can start. So when we talk about investment or the funds required for adopting the automation, it's not that I would say huge where the businesses have to make a very very calculated decision. One of the recent projects which I did for one of my clients into environmental services, we delivered their first project, and I should not quote, but yeah, it was closed in around $13,000, including the development and the license cost and everything. And yes, nothing is hidden in this.
So, another question from the forum. I personally feel this is very critical, which is around my favorite topic, which is compliance and regulation. Do you think is RPA adding risk to the environment? Automation handles vast amount of data, but are companies doing enough to ensure compliance with privacy laws like GDPR? Could poorly managed RPA systems create new regulatory risks? So what's your thought?
Mm, no, I don't think so, because see again, the RPA solutions which are built, okay, they are just mimicking the human actions. So practically saying, they're just processing the transactions. None of the data is being stored within any RPA solution beyond a transaction. Okay, because it's a continuous workflow, it's a workflow automation. So every time all the information is being managed through variables, or attributes, and if with every transaction the information is just wiped out, lost, so there is no storage of information. So just like a human is processing an invoice, okay, so that's exactly a bot or an RPA solution is also doing. So, and while all the solutions stay within the client infrastructure, so if the infrastructure is solid and the security measures are taken care, so I don't think there is any threat.
Okay. Another question is that around is automation destroying customer personalization? So let's say automation is automation, especially in customer service,
Mhm.
it's growing. We have seen how different applications are using RPA nowadays. Even in their chatbots, they are using intelligent automation. But is it stripping away the human touch? Are bots leading to more generic, robotic conversation that harm long-term relationship with B2B clients?
I'll say it depends. See, it's all about the maturity of the solution that has been implemented, plus plus the business decision. It's the business stakeholders who actually make the call as to how conversational the solution has to be. See, this is where we are talking about the AI thing. Okay. Now, while RPA will be helping the businesses to process the transactions behind the scene, like the chatbot example you gave. So, the kind of chatbot you build, the kind of human element the chatbot should have, it directly depends upon the level of AI integration into the system. So the more as a business we want, it may incur additional costs. It may incur, some infrastructure cost and development cost. But again, it's a business decision. If you want to come up with a very basic 5 to 7 or 10 question based chatbot, that if you want to limit the capability of a chatbot to be only able to answer 10 questions, of course, it's a straightforward thing. But yeah, if as a business we decide that okay, here is the complete plethora of our possibilities which the customers may ask, that's where AI gets into the picture and AI can start acting as a human.
Close to my heart, which is about Compunnel. So, when it comes to specialization in making automation and making simple and impactful automation processes, what do you think that Compunnel? How do you think that Compunnel can help these companies, especially with intelligent automation? Do you think that we Compunnel is having competencies? What kind of partnership Compunnel holds? And where do you see that if you can pick up one case study where you think that customer was not having that level of understanding around automation, and you help them to understand automation, and it is giving high ROI to the company, pick up, just explain what
Mhm.
Compunnel is having as offering in one of the case study.
When it comes to our competency, so me and my team, we are competent enough to develop and deliver automation solutions, like I said, using Power Platform, UiPath, Power Apps, Automation Anywhere. Then we've got N8N. Then we've got Workato. So these are, some of the tools which are very much, widely used across the industry, and are capable to, solve most of the cases. Plus, in these automation solutions that we have developed, in many of them we have also integrated the Gen AI aspect, because some of the processes involve document processing. So that's where Gen AI helps to summarize the document, or at least classify to us as a solution what type of a document it is and what all information it contains. So we've got the prompts which are capable to extract the needed or meaningful information and help the RPA bots to process that document accordingly as per the business flow. Um, when it comes to case study, so I'll talk about my recent project. So we developed the solution where the customer was still using a 15-year-old ERP system which was locally hosted into their environment, definitely not SaaS based. So the irony was that even if they had to change a value of, let's say, a drop down, it took them 2 days, because they had to go back to the person who developed it, then do the testing and then get it rolled out. So it was a big cycle for them. So what we've done is we've recently, because again this customer was definitely not tech savvy and they have never done a technology revamp, so to speak. So we developed the POC for them where their business transactions are now being processed using a combination of Power Automate, a custom built chatbot, and the MS Forms. And now recently, to handle one of the exception, we engaged MS Teams also into one of our Power Automate flow. So that's how the initial part of the solution was delivered. Now with the delivery, the client was so impressed that now we are talking about the phase two, which is hopefully expected to begin next month. Now phase two is a bigger revamp of the technology and a total digital transformation of their existing systems.
the SaaS cost nowadays is very low. I think you mentioned that $15 is as low as someone can start automation in their organization, right? So companies should understand this, that automation is not a costly project. You can start in a small, with a small ticket size, with a small size, and once you start seeing progress, you can scale it up,
Exactly.
right? And I
Exactly.
think sort of you have expertise to make things agile in such a way. So, thank you, Saurabh, today for breaking down this for us. Intelligent automation is clearly a very powerful tool for businesses across industry. To our listeners, if
Exactly.
you're curious about how automation can transform your business, reach out to Saurabh. He's available on LinkedIn. He's very, very responsive. You can start with a small talk, think big, and act fast with him. He's a very good guy in that. You can also visit our website www.compunnel.com and you can write to us. You can fill a form and we can arrange a call back to you. And thank you again for tuning into the Future Cast. If this conversation is valuable to you, share this episode with your friends, colleagues, and subscribe to our podcast. And we're looking forward to share more thoughts, more expert views in the upcoming weeks. This is Shivam signing off. Stay curious, stay innovative, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Thank you, Saurabh.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.